All right. I think we're live. Hello, everybody. We're trying something new. And we just all kind of looked at each other like, oh, do we talk? All right. So we're trying something new. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Book Creator Getting Started webinar. All of you out there in the streamosphere, wherever you're at watching this today, thank you for being here. We do appreciate it. We're going to share my screen, and we're going to get started here right away. And we're going to talk about all things Book Creator, specifically getting started with Book Creator. So we are going to start off with some introductions. So Catherine, why don't you go ahead and tell us who you are and what you do?
Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine Frank. I'm one of the teacher success managers here at Book Creator. I've been with Book Creator over 5.5 years. And before that, I was in the classroom for about 9 years. Really happy to be here today to share Book Creator with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Catherine. And next up, Janet.
Hi, everyone. I'm Janet Burnett. I'm a teacher success manager here as well. I am based in Alabama, and I am a former educator. I retired from the state of Alabama before officially joining the Book Creator team, but I've used Book Creator in my classroom and with teachers in my district for about 10 years. So I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, Janet. And I'm John Smith, Senior Teacher Success Manager here at Book Creator. I've been a Book Creator for 7.5 years. And before that, I was a special ed teacher for 12 years and a technology integration specialist for 7 years. So super, super excited to be here with everybody, chatting a little bit about Book Creator and getting started. But before we get into all of the really cool things that Book Creator can do, I do like to go through this real quick. And this is simply our why book. And I think it's really important when you're trying to learn something new, especially with the stress of going back to school or the stress of the middle of the year or the end of the year, wherever you happen to be when you learn about Book Creator. It's always important to understand why you should do it. All right. And so number one, I think Book Creator can really help transform classroom engagement. I have not yet met a teacher who does not want that. Catherine, Janet, have you met anybody who doesn't want classroom engagement?
No.
Yeah, okay.
Lots that are searching for it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think so. So why Book Creator? Because it is simple, because it is like inclusive. Everybody can use it. It is an amazing tool for students and teachers to be able to use to create content. It's available, even though it says Book Creator. Everybody can use it. Doesn't matter what you teach. I've got bus drivers, I've got janitors, I've got district treasurers. Everybody in the world can make books using Book Creator in every subject, but also every student. I think that's what's really powerful. Can't say that about everything, right? Every kid can use Book Creator, and I've used it with kids as young as 3 and as old as 98 and everywhere in between. The other thing that's really cool about Book Creator is that you can take your books and you can actually publish those online. And if you want to see your kids' faces just light up, then let them know that their books have been read thousands of times in countries all over the world. You will literally watch your kids change right in front of your face. And it is super easy. There are literally 2 buttons that you're going to have to learn. We'll talk about those here in just a few seconds. So really super simple. And education is really at the heart of everything that we do. Our founder created Book Creator because his son was diagnosed with dyslexia, and he needed a way for his son to be able to write stories about whatever he wanted to write about. And then in turn, read those stories about, what he wrote about. So it has been powerful for me, for teachers all over the world, Janet and Catherine included. So that's why we think you should be excited about what you're about to learn today. And if that book wasn't enough to get you excited, look at those faces. All right. I mean, those faces tell it all. That kid is so excited about the book that he made. The girl, she's about to laugh herself silly. She can't even control herself anymore. That is Book Creator. And if you're still not fully invested in what we're about to talk about, then this one is another one. And I think this sums it up pretty much to a T. Sean McGusker at one of the conferences was talking about Book Creator, and he said, do you ever have to teach kids how to build with Legos, right? And the answer is no, right? They just kind of do their thing and they start playing with Legos. And he said that Book Creator is kind of like that. It's the educational equivalent of a bucket of Legos. And so I am super thrilled to be here with you today with Janet and Catherine talking about the ways that teachers can use Book Creator. And really, there are 3 ways that we see it being used specifically: student creations, student templates, and educator creations. So we're going to talk about all 3 of those today, along with all of the cool things a book creator can do. So we're going to start off right now with the very beginning, Catherine. It sounds fun, but how do we get there?
Yes, so we'll throw the link in the chat, but you just go to app.bookcreator.com. Make sure you're signing in as a teacher, though. I know that sounds really silly, but sometimes we get really click happy and we're fast and we just accidentally sign in on the yellow screen that says student sign in. Make sure you click switch to teacher under where the student sign in, and that will take you to a blue page with an owl on it. You can go ahead and create your account on there. We suggest signing up with your district's email address or the school email address you have. And then once you get logged in, you'll be able to start creating.
Right. Awesome. What does that look like?
So when you create, when you're in, you're going to be taken to a library first. Once you're in that library, this is when you're going to be able to click on the new book button. So you can see that right on the page right there, that yellow orange button right there. Click on new book, really simple. Once you click on that, you're going to get started right away. Now, 2 buttons while you are creating that John mentioned before. We are going to learn about the plus button right there on the screen. And then we're going to talk about the inspector button just to the right of the plus button. These are the 2 main buttons that you are going to need to learn to start creating, and your students are going to need to know as well. So the first thing you're going to want to do is add different content to your page. So you can click on that plus button. It's divided up by tools you can add, media you can add, and apps that you can add. So you can select what you want to add to your page. Then whenever you've added something to your page, if you want to make it interesting, spice it up, you're going to click on that inspector, and that's going to allow you to change backgrounds, fonts, edit images. You can do all that from the inspector.
All right. And there it is. I didn't click the button fast enough, Catherine, but yes, that's some of the inspector. That one, it changes for every tool that you pick. So in this case, the text box is highlighted. And then when you click the inspector, a text box option pops up for the different things. If you pick an image, then you get some different things that pop up for the images.
Yeah. And so then once you, like Catherine mentioned, when you go in as a teacher, when you first get in there, it's going to prompt you to create your first library. With the free version, you're going to get 1 library. With the premium version, you're going to get unlimited libraries. So this is a wonderful way for you to think what's going to best fit you as a teacher, right? How do you want to think about it? Do you want to do it by homeroom teacher? If you're elementary, do you want to do it by subject area or by skill or even by unit? So you've got a lot of freedom and choice. But once you create a library, then you're going to get your students to join that specific library. And every library also has its own settings. So you can control that group of kids. If you've got a few little stinkers in one group, then you can put more control on them than maybe say another group that's ready for more. And then also over in the side there, I'm all up in the confetti because one of our recent ads is that now you can organize those libraries. So just by clicking and dragging, and you can even color code them. All you elementary people out there, I know that that's going to make you happy, just to be able to click on that little icon for each library and color code it by subject area or by skill or even by maybe what quarter you're teaching things in. So lots of things with the libraries there.
And Jana, I just want to kind of throw in there, because this was not something that I would have thought about initially, but now that I have heard it, I can't stop thinking about it. Those icons and the color coding are also great for students who have difficulty reading. So if you have kids who can't read, you tell them, you say, hey, go to the photosynthesis library. And they're kind of like, I don't know which one the photosynthesis library is because they don't read the words. Then you can use those icons and say, hey, go to the green microscope, right, for photosynthesis. And so that really helps out. So, yeah, absolutely. Good shout.
Yeah. Something else before we jump from that is if you're using iPads, we do recommend, this is not really related to libraries, but we do recommend that you use the browser rather than the app. And that is going to allow you to see the real-time action going on within those libraries. So I just wanted to kind of toss that out as well.
Yep.
And then once you get your library made, and you decide, like John said, how you need to use it, whether it's going to be a student creating or you creating something as the teacher for them, then you're going to have lots of different book types and shapes, depending on what best fits your project. I always used to choose the standard books across the top because I like a good blank page. But don't be scared of the ones on the bottom. You don't have to write graphic novels or be writing a comic book to use those. Actually, there's some hidden extra things that are associated in that comic book. So I now forever always choose the comic book landscape on that bottom right. And that way the options are there if you want to use them, or you don't have to. And then another option is if you have a lesson that even you're bored with kind of as a teacher, a really good way to kind of add a little joy or like accessorize it, just like we do for our homes or with our outfits, you can use one of our templates or themes. We have tons of those that are available, even like a newspaper from maybe a social studies lesson. It just kind of adds a different flair to it, adds a little excitement for the students. We have yearbooks. We've got different themes that they can use that are already kind of ready-made, a little bit more colorful and a little more designed than just a blank page. So do know that those are there if you need or choose to use those with your students.
And I also really like the templates, especially for older students, because I find that a lot of times when a middle school or high school kid looks at Book Creator and they see this big white rectangle on their page, they kind of either get fearful because they don't know where to start, or they just look at it and like, I can't use this because it's too easy. So I love the templates because it really shows you the power of the simplicity of Book Creator. Yes, it's easy to use, but you can also create these amazing antique books. So you can create these magazines. So I love the templates there.
Me too. And they're great. This is where you find them. So when you go in, there's a little button that it's pointing to up there at the top. There's the blank books, but if you'll click on the little button just next to it, it's not big and flashy, but it's holding a lot of punch in there. And that is a great way to go in there and kind of customize or show your students how they can power up their writing really, really quickly. And there's fun things like a magazine or a cookbook. So all the graphic design work is done for you. All they have to do is click on the template and then just simply add their text. And the collaboration button is a fun one to use in these projects as well.
Absolutely. Now, the important thing with collaboration, you probably would have seen it in our little yellow notes on the side, is to make sure that everybody is using the same style, right? Very rarely do I tell kids how to make a book. The only exception to that is when we do collaboration, because I want to make sure that everybody has the same type of style. Then we can push them all together at the end. So I make sure we do that.
True.
Okay, this is awesome too. So as we're talking about making books, sometimes people get a little nervous because they have to reinvent the wheel, right? And they have to start all over. And it's like, well, I've got all these amazing resources that my district has given me that I've used for years. My kids love them. No worries, because not only can you make blank books, not only can you use templates, you can actually import a PDF. So if you have some PDF that you use because it has great information on it, but you want to, like Janet says, spice it up a little bit, accessorize it, make it better, then you can import that PDF and actually turn it into a book. So it could be a 1-page PDF, could be 5 pages. I've worked with teachers who take 100-page PDFs, bring them into Book Creator, and then they jazz them up by putting like audio buttons on top of that PDF, or extra directions, or maybe they want to erase something off of that PDF and put something different in there. The PDFs is really powerful, especially if you have stuff that your district is already using, bringing that in. Total side note, I will just let you know this. My daughter last year came home with a whole packet of PDFs all stapled together, and they were all black and white. And I asked her what it was, and she goes, I don't know. And she ran out the door. She put on her roller skates down the driveway. It was her reading curriculum. All right. And so they were kind of like, she was like not interested because it wasn't in color, blah, blah, blah. So I brought that into Book Creator, jazzed it up a little bit, and showed it to my daughter, and she loved it. So I always say, don't underestimate the power of packaging. All right. So if you can change that package up a little bit, you can get those kids to be a little bit more excited.
Also, John, real quick, just teachers go crazy for the idea that you can layer on top of that. So those are wonderful for fluency reads, being able to have the passage, the level of passage for the student there, but then at them being able to go in and record their voice on top of it on that PDF. You're really able to check off some things on your teacher to-do list, but it's way more powerful than a number written on a page when you can hit play and hear it.
Absolutely. My daughter, when she was in first grade and they sent home a little note saying your daughter went from like a 12 to a 15, I was like, what is that? What does that even mean? Right. But if I can actually hear my daughter's progress from day one of school to the end of the school, then I can really, I can hear it. I can feel it. Right. It makes a lot more sense. So yeah, good call on that one. The next one that we want to talk about is adding images. So if you click that plus button and you go to that tools, there is an option right here for images. And you're going to see that this nice little image search actually pops up. And when you're here, you can type in anything that you want and search, or you can also use your microphone. All right. My kids, they call this writing with your face. So whatever you want to call it is fine. You hit the microphone, you say car, it pops up. You hit search, and then you get all these really cool images. And so you simply click on it and add that image right there to the page. And once you're there, you can move it around, resize it. You can even crop it. My personal favorite is actually clicking that inspector and even removing the background. So I can get rid of the background there, and I can put that car anywhere I want, like in my driveway where it belongs. All right. So I absolutely love the image search. These images are from Pixabay, so they're free to use, free to modify, and they are safe. So the safest, most copyright-free images that you're going to find. And if you do have situations where maybe kids don't want to use something digital, right, for images, they'd rather draw their own images, no worries. They can draw it using pens and papers and crayons and markers, and they can even upload a picture of that from their own device. So just take a picture of their physical artwork and bring that straight into Book Creator as well. So lots of options for images. The camera is definitely one of my favorites, and I don't think the teachers use it enough. It's simply under the plus button and camera, and that's where you can either take a still picture or you can record video. And I personally like video the most because it really gives kids a chance to take whatever it is that they learned in the classroom and then find it in the real world. And so I might hit record, gives me a little countdown, and I might say, hey, Mr. Smith, hey, in class, you were talking about angles, and I could care less until I got home and realized there's a 90-degree angle right there on the ceiling and the wall. All right. So I love the use of video. And truthfully, if you have kids who struggle with writing, sometimes instead of starting with pencil and paper or keyboard and computer, instead of doing that, start with video and just have your kids spew out whatever they want to spew out, and then have them go back and listen to it and then type based on what they're listening to. So they can listen, pause, type, listen, pause, type. And a lot of times what you're going to find is that the kids will make their writing even better because they'll think about things that they forgot to say in the video, and then they'll put that in their writing. So I love using the camera. And then every once in a while, your kids, they'll click buttons too quick, just like the teachers do when they sign in. They'll push things and they'll just be like, camera, nope, whatever. And then all of a sudden they kind of like got rid of their camera settings. So very simple. You just got to click that little camera button icon there in the browser and then turn on access. So nothing too crazy, but it is definitely something that we have seen happen. So we wanted to make sure we talk about it. All right, Catherine, the pen tool. This is like a mic drop moment.
Another amazing feature. The pen tool is great for having students draw their own pictures, annotate, imagine inputting a PDF into Book Creator, getting your students to annotate right on top of it. So you'll notice on the screen, there's different types of pens, and a highlighter is one of them. My favorite part of the pen tool, though, is our amazing auto draw feature. This is an AI pen tool, and John's going to draw a picture, let's say, of a sun. And at the top of the screen, it's going to start guessing what I'm trying to draw. So this is great for your students if you ask them, I would like you to, instead of using images, draw your own pictures for these books. And some of your students might already be gone by then, and they really feel like I can't draw. This is a great option for them to allow them to use the auto pen to assist them with drawing those images into the books. We also have like really neat colors. There's the glitter pens, which everyone loves a glitter pen. John will show you right there. And any color you imagine that you wanted to use is there. And then we also have emojis. So if you click on that little smiley face, my favorite part about the emoji feature here is that you can search for emojis. So maybe you want to search for a shark. There you go. And then you can add that. It's great, an additional feature to add different characters to your story that you're writing in Book Creator.
Awesome.
Okay, so we're creating books. We're going to want to know how to add text and how to format the text. So if you click on that plus button one more time, you can scroll down. You can see the T, that text icon. If you click on that, a text box is going to appear. There are a ton of different features in this text box. A lot of times they get asked right away, how do I change the font? You will do that after you've added your text to the page. But you'll notice in the text box, you can bold, italicize, underline. You can even hyperlink, which is great for like a table of contents. Or if you're doing an assignment that needs to be linked off to another site, they can do that. There's also bullet pointing and numbering. That's great for students. Maybe you're taking notes as a math journal or a science notebook. They can use those features. And then at the bottom, we have a few. The first one is great for foreign language teachers. We have all of the different accent marks. To the right of that one, there's number symbols, which are great for math and science. And then we have the translation button. You are able to translate books, audio, text, and video captioning into, I believe it's over 160 languages. I might be wrong, but I think it's over 160. And then, and it was, John will show you in a split second. It's just translated. And then the last button is one of my favorites as well. This is our text to speech. It's a fantastic accessibility feature. So when you click on it, it's going to read it back to you.
The boy walked to the park.
When you hit done, this is when you can format the text on your page. You can just add it right there. And then you're going to click that inspector. Remember, you're always going to go back and forth between the plus button and the inspector. And that's where you can change the colors, the fonts, and just spice everything up.
All right. I spiced it up too much. Nobody's going to read red on orange on red, but whatever. You get the point.
Another favorite with Book Creator is getting students to record their voice. Perfect for a different option for them to demonstrate their understanding. Great for fluency practice, just like Janet was saying earlier. I also like using it if you create a template for students and you want to record the voice, record your voice for directions. That can be really helpful for students. And you can even translate that audio too. So many things that you can do with audio. But you'll just click on I think John just showed you, you click on the plus button, scroll down to record, and you can record a short clip.
And Catherine, another thing about that is a lot of times in middle school, especially, they're so self-conscious that when it comes to making a video, they sometimes don't like the way that they look. So this might be another choice for them to still get the information out and convey that to the teacher, but in a more a safer way for them without having to look at themselves on that camera. That recording feature offers the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also, believe it or not, I've got high school kids who are using Book Creator as a podcasting platform. So they'll make a book and just record their voices doing podcasting and put that into there. So like totally endless possibilities, but the audio button is definitely one of my absolute favorites. And
then one additional feature I want to share is being able to add shapes. These are going to be found under the media column right there. If you scroll down to shapes, pretty self-explanatory here. Students can pick any shape they would like. You can change the colors, you can rotate them, use them however you would like. But yeah, great feature to use as well.
All right, awesome. Okay, actually, you know what? I'm going to go back here real quick because I think we forgot to mention it. And you can actually see it right here. So not only can you add like those pretty standard shapes that we showed you, but there's also icons. So there's about 2 to 3 million icons that are in there, and you can search for anything you want. Favorite story here, I searched for Shakespeare. It's the only thing that came up with 0 results, which I thought was fascinating because like we're a bookmaking company. So how do we not have Shakespeare in there? But then I realized a couple of days later when I was showing this to some special ed teachers, there is a microphone. So you can do speech to text here as well to search. And I said, look, nothing shows up for Shakespeare. And I hit the microphone and said, Shakespeare. I get icons. The reason nothing showed up is because, like a lot of our students, I couldn't spell either, so I misspelled Shakespeare and nothing showed up. But when I use the microphone, it spells it correctly and Shakespeare shows up. So I love that. All right. We do have an eyedropper tool. So when you are clicking on that inspector and you want to change like the color of something, you can click on that, change the color. And if you don't like the standard colors, you can go to the plus button. You can hit the little eyedropper and you can find that exact shade of purple that you want. Yeah, click on it and say apply, and it changes everything right there for you. So the eyedropper tool is fantastic. We have almost maybe 1,000 graphic organizers that are built right in, which is fantastic. So all you have to do is click on those plus button. Janet, I just realized I took over your spot. So Janet, you hit it. Go ahead. I just started talking and was like, whatever.
No, listen, I'm a huge fan of the page template. So these are different than the templates we were talking about earlier, where it's like the newspaper, magazine, cookbook. If you go to that plus button and then go to that little media section, just underneath that, this is a teacher time saver for sure, a way to scaffold for your students, a way to keep them on task, and really a way for them to show what they know. So here's over 800, yes, I said over 800 graphic organizers, and no teacher has time to crawl through 800 things. So over on that left-hand side, there are different categories that you'll see there, but then you can also search for specific things. So if you click on up at the top and type in fluency, for example, it will pull up all of the things that could be used for a fluency activity. And it's okay if it's not always a book. It can just be a graphic organizer at the end of your whole group discussion today. So that makes Book Creator really flexible, regardless of what you're teaching, what age group you're teaching. We have an entire section. One of the ones that John was showing there is made for our multilingual students that had that built-in audio component in on the template. So there's so much goodness in there. I encourage you to get in there, look around on the graphic organizer or the page templates, and start thinking about how they can go with your lesson that you're teaching tomorrow. And one other thing that I love about them is you can edit anything about it. So if you don't like the heading that's on it, or you want to add maybe a content resource to it, you again can edit the wording, but you can also rearrange it and embed content right on it. So it can really be a station on a one-pager. And then you hit it with the assign feature, couple it with that, and then you know what? You've got a ready-made station.
Yeah, and I always say too, what I love most about the templates is it gets you to think about using Book Creator for more than just that end of quarter project. The projects are great, but like Janet said, you can make a one-page book and use it for reflection, or make it, whatever you want. So I love those templates.
Yeah. And I'm not sure why we have page backgrounds right here, but
sure. But we do.
We've kind of already hinted into that. Anytime you want to improve anything in Book Creator, you're going to go to that I button, that inspector button. And if you want to improve the white page, you can use one of the templates, or you can just click the I before you put anything else on it and choose from tons of different backgrounds there. There's conservative ones, there's comic ones, and then there's even just different types of paper there. So if you need graph paper, or if you need lined paper, or music paper even.
Right. Janet, what's the Discover section?
Oh, okay. All right. So the Discover section is it's almost like a template on steroids. Okay. So this is going to be a section that you can find in your teacher dashboard. So you'll just click on those three little lines up in the top left-hand corner, and that will take you back to your teacher dashboard. You click on that Discover section, and here is a wealth of material that is ready to go. So at the top, you're going to find ready-made templates that have been created by our team and other educators that are using Book Creator in their classrooms, just like you are. John's showing you there that we have them in different categories as far as content areas. But don't forget that there's that little white arrow over on the right-hand side, because there's tons of things hiding within each category. So all you have to do is go in there, find something. If it fits the lesson that you're looking for that day, you can have it. So all you have to do is click on that remix button here, drop it into your own personal library, and then you're going to have your own copy that then you can edit, add to, take away from, whatever you decide works best for your students. And then you'll have the ability, like I said earlier, to assign that to your students and make them their own copy. So lots of goodness in that Discover library.
Absolutely. So there's that remix button that we just talked about. You're going to remix it, copy it right into your library, assign it. All right. And that brings us to our end of today. But before we go, we do want to remind everybody that if you liked what you saw today, the next thing you need to do is do something with it, right? You can't just sit back and be like, oh, cool, I learned something, right? Get in there, make books, get your kids in there, have them make books, because that's where the real power is. But we are also realistic because things get in the way, right? And so what's going to happen is you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get started. And then all of a sudden the dog barks, right? And then you got to let the dog out, or you got to go get your kid from school or something. And so then you're going to be like, oh, and life gets in the way. And so then maybe tomorrow or next week, you're sitting there thinking, what did they say about the pen tool? I don't remember how to assign something. No worries. We have our certified author course, which will allow you to go back and learn all of those great things whenever you want. We've got social media out the wazoo. So follow us on one of those platforms and learn even more. Connect with some of our educators in our community programs. There are so many great things there. And we just want to say thank you so much for joining us. Until the next time, be safe out there. Happy bookmaking. Oh, and before I forget, right there on the screen, there's a little QR code. If you want a certificate of attendance, scan that right now. Get your information in there, and we will send you a certificate of attendance. All right. So thank you so much again, everybody, for joining us. Again, be safe. Happy bookmaking. Have a great day.
Bye everyone.
All right.